afraid of love. Many people have been through trauma, which creates a cycle of not trusting either men or women, not trusting relationships, and not trusting love itself. So maybe we grew up in an environment where the two main people that were meant to give us love, for their own various inadequacies and own pain, could not give us the love that we deserved growing up. And out of that, now the concept, the feeling of love itself is not safe. So even if we're in a relationship with someone and they want to love us, we don't actually let it in because our previous experience was it wasn't safe. And then who we tend to choose from those experiences is people that don't give us love to prove that love is not safe, or they're unstable with love. It's not consistent. They give it, they take it away. And that seesaw cycle inside a relationship is very, very common. See, it's a lot easier to give love to someone else. And maybe you're an overgiver, giving love all the time and not getting anything back. Maybe you recognize that about yourself. Why? Because you keep picking a taker because of the pattern that you've set up. That hurts a lot. So people find it a lot easier to give love than to actually really let it in. Because for most people, for most of us, we've had role models and we've had experiences where love itself was not safe. So we don't actually let it in. And hence we're afraid of love itself, even though we want it, even though we need it as a human being. Either as a man or a woman, this is going to be the same. You're frightened of love. And you know yourself, if you're honest, in a relationship, you keep them at a distance. Most people are like, certainly in the honeymoon, infatuation period, they're like, yeah, I totally love them. But you know what? I'll just keep 2% back. I'll go in 98%. The problem is that most communication in relationships is non-verbal. Words are just 7% of the overall intimate communication in a romantic relationship. So the other person picks up, you're in 98%. So what do? Well, they're in 98% too. And then an argument happens. And now you're in 95%. You forgive them, you come back, but you've dropped that level a little bit. You've kept that 5% of safety now. And then another argument happens, and pretty soon it's down to 90%. Another disagreement happens, and you're down to 80%. And what do? They drop to 80% too. And before you know it, you drop below 50%. You're not in. You've got the back door open. You've got your little secret bank account set up in case it fails so you can exit. That's just guaranteed to failure. That is setting it up to fail. And this is what happens. The majority of relationships now, not because relationships are a problem, because how we're running relationships and the skills we have are failing. Most relationships are failing. So it's not the model, it's not marriage and it's not relationships that's the problem. It's how we're running our relationships that's the problem. And we've got to learn to be fully in. And people are like, hang on, you want me to be fully in? How can I be fully in? They're not fully in. But if you're fully in and they feel and experience that you're fully in, not needy, but just fully committed into the relationship, no one runs away from love. Not real love, not fully in love. But when they feel you're only 98% in, that confirms love is not safe. So I'm just going 98% in as well. And what you're setting up inevitably is for your relationship to have problems. And if you don't fix those problems, eventually for it to fail. And then you suffer, your partner suffers, and your children suffer. Don't kid yourself that out of a relationship, kids are okay. They never are. All the research shows that children of divorced parents have higher rates of mental health problems, study at school and getting good results, social interaction and connection, divorce themselves, and higher rates of suicide. So divorce is extremely destructive. And if you're finding yourself having those thoughts right now about maybe this is a solution, maybe I do need to exit, reach out and get help. Your relationship, your family, and you deserve that help first.